Mr. Kadosh claims to have passed by the Spitalfields Church at 5:32, which, given the distance from 27 Hanbury Street, would mean he was still at home at 5:31. Let's therefore put the end of his testimony at 5:31. Miss Long heard the man say to the victim, "Will you?" To which the victim responded, "Yes," which would suggest that an agreement was reached and that the transaction was imminent. They then proceeded to enter the garden, which puts the voices heard by Kadosh at 5:29. We had thought that Kadosh had left 27 Hanbury Street at 5:31 after having heard an impact against the fence. Thus, 2 minutes passed between the moment when Kadosh entered the house after having been in the garden the first time and the moment when he returns to go out again and leave for work. How long did he estimate this interval to be? 3 to 4 minutes. In light of all this, Watson, we can finally establish the time of Chapman's murder. Now, place the knife at the exact time. Now then, taking into account that the local clock isn't exact and that a young man was off by a minute or two in his estimations of his comings and goings, we can confirm Miss Long's testimony and place the time of the crime at approximately 5:30.
But in that case, Holmes, the man that Miss Long saw is none other than...
That's right, Watson. It was the Whitechapel killer.
To think that Miss Long and Kadosh were only a few feet away from him.
Indeed, Watson. Had Miss Long passed just a little closer to the victim and her assassin, or had the young Kadosh popped his head over the fence out of curiosity, the killer would most certainly already be behind bars.
That's some stroke of luck he had there.
I couldn't agree more, Watson. But his luck didn't end there, given the mutilations inflicted upon this poor woman. What must be considered above all is the killer's obvious wish to remove one and only one specific organ. His surgery pinpointed the exact spot, avoiding superfluous incisions. This suggests the man possesses at least a minimal anatomical knowledge.
Are you suggesting a doctor or a butcher?
Perhaps, but the possibilities are still too broad to conclude with any certainty. Now for the motive. Despite my almost complete lack of practical experience on the subject, I have a rather precise idea of the usefulness of a uterus and a vagina. Nonetheless, once they are separated from their usual envelope, I am more circumspect as to the uses one can make of them. What do you think, Watson? We need a board, Watson.
Black magic?
Watson, this line of investigation is far too vague. We don't have a single clue in support of such a motive. We can eliminate this hypothesis.
Money, quite simply.
Even if this motive seems incongruous, we're in no position to deny or affirm it until we know whether a market for human organs exists.
Perhaps it was intended as a study specimen.
I have little faith in that theory. Hardly anything was taken from the Bucks Row victim.
Holmes, what if it was cannibalism?
Even if the idea is unbearable, we can't ignore it as a possibility.
A desire for some sort of morbid trophy.
I'd be inclined to dismiss this motive. If this were the case, why would nothing have been removed from the Bucks Row victim? Elementary. What emerges from these possible motives for having removed the uterus from the second victim is that they implied that the killer could have carried out the same thing on the Bucks Row victim, yet didn't. This brings us to a terrible conclusion. Our killer has evolved in the space of only a few days, and if that's the case, had he already struck before the first murder to which we attribute him? And if the killer strikes again, what atrocity awaits his next victim?
We have to stop him, Holmes.
We shall do our best. This recent business of jars filled with formalin and of the American doctor might be a lead. Watson, inquire among medical circles to ascertain if there is a black market for human organs. The chances are slim, but this must be pursued.
Very well. What about you, Holmes?
I will send word to Inspector Aberline regarding our recent conclusions. I should also like to become a gas man and pay a visit to Bluto at the Wasp's Nest.
Understood, Holmes. I think one of my old university colleagues who works at the London hospital will be able to help me. I shall write him a note at once. He should be able to see me during the day. Afterwards, shall we meet here?
Yes, Watson. See you later, and good luck.
I must get to the London hospital, where my old university colleague works. To the London hospital, quick! My colleague agreed to meet me here in one of the London hospital rooms reserved for students.
Ah, John. You're there already. Punctual as always. Tell me, you don't seem to be in good shape. Is it possible that your recent marriage is making you this morose?
Ah, you know me well, Andrew. No, it's a strange and terrible affair that concerns me. Have you read my note?
Yes, I admit that I was surprised. It just so happens that I, too, was asking questions about our morgue.
What do you think? Have you heard of any organ trafficking within?
No, John. No doubt there exists some exchange between colleagues. Not quite legal, of course, but nothing that can qualify as trafficking. Since the Anatomy Act of 1832, which permitted the use of unclaimed corpses for science, the black market trade was definitely halted. There are sufficient subjects available for all practitioners and students. Of this I can confirm.
Well, organ trafficking as a lucrative trade is out of the question. Then what is troubling you with the morgue?
You are talking about trafficking organs, but I suspect there is trade in whole bodies.
What do you mean to say? Whole bodies are disappearing?
Well, it's confidential, but I know of your discretion and your friendship with the famous Sherlock Holmes. I can tell you that a few corpses have recently disappeared from the hospital morgue. Cadavers that were intended for dissection. That is to say, not claimed. Poor, unknown people. If a single corpse had disappeared, it might have been a bad joke. There are many students who pass through here. It's even a meeting spot. For the majority, they are here to work. A few come here in secret to practice. It also happens that instruments or organs go missing. Nothing alarming, but so many corpses. It's very troubling.
But the hospital doctors aren't doing anything?
No. That is to say, they would prefer not to call the police at this point. An investigation would no doubt result in the suspension of authorizations for the use of unclaimed corpses. Do you think that you could intercede on our behalf with Sherlock Holmes to clear up this situation?
Which corpses are missing?
I don't know exactly, but I can make an exact list if you would like to wait here for a few minutes. Feel free to look around the room while you wait. It'll bring back memories.
Thank you, Andrew. It's here that students come to carry out their experiments. This surgical instrument resembles a screwdriver. How amusing. It might come in handy. I will return it later. It's here that students come to carry out their experiments. This rag is full of grease. It certainly wasn't used for a dissection. Was someone doing some mechanical work here? This rag is full of grease. It certainly wasn't used for a dissection. Was someone doing some mechanical work here? This wheel won't roll despite all of the added grease. Curious, as Holmes would say. This wheel won't roll despite all of the added grease. Curious, as Holmes would say. A message. I'll be... Why the devil was it hidden here? An old prescription. Poor child, so young, yet terminally ill. Strange, someone scrawled something. Part of it is in Latin. These are instructions, it would seem. The last lesson must have been about the human heart. And for a class of beginners, I expect, as this diagram is rather rudimentary. There is a heart in this jar. Based on its colouring, it hasn't been there long, and it looks like the drawing on the board. This jar contains 2 lids with combination locks. I am missing some information. It's here that students come to carry out their experiments. An encyclopedia of anatomy. A page on the human heart is dog-eared. Let's see. There is a heart in this jar. Based on its colouring, it hasn't been there long, and it looks like the drawing on the board. This jar contains 2 lids with combination locks. Look, there was a bit of paper stuck between the 2 lids. Incredible! Someone has hidden a magnet in this heart. But to what end? Nothing of interest here. Nothing of interest here. Incredible! There is a magnet with a hook behind this pane of glass. I am in need of something. There, all done. Holmes couldn't have done better himself. A hole! I can make out something inside, but how to get it out? I will need a hook. I found it! A coded message. I do believe I will need Holmes.
Here is the list, John. The missing corpses are those of a woman, 40 years old, beginning of August, another, 55 years old, 2 weeks ago, and recently, a young woman. These corpses had nothing in common except that they didn't have any apparent lesions.
All of this is very troubling. Well, I think that I have all of the information possible, and I promise that I will do what I can to clear up this business. I must leave you, my friend, and...
In the name of our friendship,
Please, don't go so stare.
To be sure. Thanks again, Andrew.
it is I who must thank you, John. Don't forget to keep me up to date and say hello to your charming wife for me.
Count on me, Andrew.
I must go to the Wasp's Nest to find this rogue that Watson dubbed Bluto. He may be able to provide information on Dr. Tumblety. This lead, although tenuous, is well worth following. I must return to Whitechapel, but it would be better if I did so incognito. I must return to Whitechapel, but it would be better if I did so incognito. This should do the trick. Let's go. Let's go to the wasp's nest.
Oi, what'll it be to drink, Gav?
Old Tongue.
What'll it be?
I have nothing to ask. There's something here. There's something here. I see a jewel. It's fallen between the floorboards. A Hebrew inscription. Going by the length of the chain, it must belong to a child. Hello there. You looking for a gas man?
You really a gasser? You sure it isn't a bobby?
Well, if you don't need me, I'll be on my way then. I've already been paid up.
Stay. Who paid you?
A doctor, Marston, I think he was. He told me you'd talk to me about a foreigner, name of Tumblety, if I did you a favour.
Right, mate. Might happen.
What is it you need me to do then?
Listen to me. At the end of Whitechapel, there's an abandoned dump of a house. Opposite Finley's boarding house. Upstairs in the mess where the gas pipes are, you'll find a sack with something heavy inside. If you look in, you'll regret it, here. You find it, you bring it here, and you don't tell a soul, right?
Got it. And then you'll tell me about this tumble-tea so that I can report back to the doc?
Yeah, doctors know people. And since you is here, it's because he'll move mountains for his American. Me, I don't know much. But you can tell him that he'll have to talk to Squibby. He seems to know lots about plenty. When you come back with a sack, I'll tell you what he needs to tell Squibby so that he snitches on the yank to him. Believe me, mate, it's as explosive as 10 miles worth of gas in your damn pipes.
Right then, I'm off.
Go. Give me some air.
I could arrange for the police to come down here and arrest this thug, but he seems pretty tough and would probably be a lot less cooperative than if I play along. It's best I handle this myself, including meeting the mysterious Squibby. It's the abandoned house that Bluto pointed out to me. He must have set up his hideout there. There's a strange smell coming from this old building. Good day, Finley.
Good day, sir. Have we met before?
It's me, Sherlock Holmes, but I don't want it to be known that I'm here. Can I count on you?
Certainly, Mr. Holmes. I shall be as silent as the grave.
Your tenant, Dr. Tumblety, is he here?
I don't think so. I'll go and find out.
It would seem you've been having some gas problems.
Don't talk to me about it. The problem is from the abandoned house not far from here, but nobody has come to take care of it.
Perhaps I could go and take a look. Do you have a ladder?
No, but I think in the pile of wood under the stairs there is one in pieces. And if you also need something from the scrap heap, some old tools or who knows what, feel free to take it, Mr. Holmes. But leave the dishes in good condition.
Thank you, and goodbye.
Goodbye, Mr. Holmes.
This lead pipe could help me to repair the gas lines. Finley's ladder is smashed to pieces, but all the parts appear to be here. This must be a piece of the ladder. A heap of rusted iron crockery. This lead pipe could help me to repair the gas lines. This must be a piece of the ladder. Part of a perfume atomizer. Water. A broken hammer. I will have to find a handle. This lead pipe could help me to repair the gas lines. Part of a perfume atomizer. some old nails. They may come in handy. This old cloth could be used as a mask. I must moisten my makeshift mask. There, this damp cloth will do for a mask. This must be a piece of the ladder. This must be a piece of the ladder. Closed. Closed.
How is your investigation going, Mr. Holmes?
Thank you, and goodbye.
Goodbye, Mr. Holmes.
Water. This window appears to be the only way out. This window appears to be the only way out. I hope this ladder will support my weight. Let's go. My cloth mask won't make much difference, but I'll be able to inspect the room for a few seconds. Someone left here in a hurry, presumably because of the gas leak. The leak must have been sudden. Even the animals didn't have time to escape. A small torch, a useful tool for opening safes, I would assume, but the gas bottle is empty. The leak must have been sudden. Even the animals didn't have time to escape. This iron bar will help me. Someone left here in a hurry, presumably because of the gas leak. I need something. I need something. I need something. The leak is coming from here. The satchel is behind these pipes. This explains why the thug wanted someone who knew about gas. He must have hidden it there in great haste and broke the pipes in the process. The satchel seems to be quite stuck. I don't think I can get it out without passing out for good. I need a more suitable mask. The kind used by tanners would do nicely.
How is your investigation going, Mr. Holmes?
I'll be needing a mask of the sort tanners use. Do you know where?
Go check in the little lane across from the clinic. At the cobbler's, perhaps.
Thank you, and goodbye.
Goodbye, Mr. Holmes.
How do, sir?
Hello. I'm sorry to say, but I'm closing.
This man seems wary. I must find a way to win his confidence. How do, sir?
Hello. I'm sorry to say, but I'm closing.
I am here because I found this.
Abraham's beard. The son of one of my neighbors was beaten in the street a few weeks ago and it was stolen from him. If you would give it to me, I promise to return it to him and get you a reward.
Money doesn't interest me.
Who are you, sir? And what do you want from me?
I'm a friend of Dr. Watson's. You know him, don't you?
In that case, welcome. Dr. Watson is a great man, and I would be pleased to help one of his friends.
You work the leather and perhaps even tan it yourself. I believe tanners wear special masks to protect themselves from the toxic emissions given off by the vats used to soak the leather. I have a gas leak to fix, and I won't survive without something effective to protect myself with.
Go see my cousin Abraham, who has a pet shop a little further down the road. Tell him that Isaac sent you. That's me.
I'll be off now.
My regards to Dr. Watson.
This is a pet shop. Hello, sir.
Hello.
You must be Abraham Solomonovich. I came on behalf of your cousin, Isaac. He said that you might be able to help me. I need a good mask to protect me from gas emissions so I can repair a leak.
Yes, it should help you. But I let it drop into the big snake cage, and they are very dangerous beasts. I don't know how to retrieve it.
But you must be equipped to deal with these creatures safely, surely.
Of course, but I broke my hook. It should be over there. If you succeed in getting that beast from its cage, you will be doing me a great favor.
I need something. This cage must do to hold the snake. This cage must do to hold the snake. I have the broken hook. I can repair it, but I'll need some materials. Perhaps I'll find some material at Isaac's that will be of use. Perhaps I'll find some material at Isaac's that will be of use. I need a few items for your cousin Abraham. May I borrow them for you?
Of course. You're welcome.
This may come in handy. This should do the trick. This should do the trick. I need something. This cage will do the trick. The mesh is small enough. There we are. Magnificent. If I may ask, why is it you have such equipment?
I haven't always had a pet shop, my friend. I was a butcher for many years, but I wasn't serious enough to be a real meat man, and I was looked down upon in the community. I found myself carting carcasses from the slaughterhouse, a repugnant job in which you catch vile illnesses, and it breaks you before you're out of your 30s. Thus I had the idea to make this mask with a sort of filter, and it worked. Since then I have quit that work, and with my little savings I started this business. I lived through the death of thousands of animals. Now I am devoted to their lives. If you are interested, I could sell you a little canary, for example.
No, thank you. Let's return to the boarding house.